Morning guys, welcome back to episode 2 here of this Milan trip here on Woody Travels. It's a quiet Sunday morning here in Milan. I'm up nice and early. It's about 8 o'clock here and I'm just heading to the train station at Milan Centrale station. I'm going to be going up to Lake Como today, so I've got my train ticket booked to Varenna. I'm going up there. It's about an hour on the train. Really looking forward to getting up to Lake Como, of course, one of the most popular and picturesque locations that you can go to really for a Milan trip. Very famous and very iconic. I've tried to plan it out as best as possible because I've heard all sorts of horror stories about people, you know, going to the lake and underestimating where you need to be and how big it is and the frequency of the ferries, etc. So let's see how this turns out, but the weather's looking perfect. For once on this channel, the weather is looking perfect. It feels good to say that this time. It's a lovely, lovely clear blue morning here in Milan, and yeah, the sun's going to be shining all day long. It's going to be a nice warm day as well. So yeah, stay tuned guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're new around here, click the subscribe button. If you do like today's video, then hit the like button as well. I hope you really enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned to see what I get up to as we head from Milan for a day trip at Lake Como. Just like that, in no more than 15 minutes, I've made it here to Centrale station, so trying to find which platform I'm on now for the hour train ride up to Lake Como. Been a little bit delayed getting here to Varenna. The train was about 15 minutes late for the journey, but wow, I'll take a 20-minute delay, a half an hour delay, whatever, for the views here, because it's breathtakingly beautiful and the weather's on point. And to mention as well, again, cheap trains in Europe is a common trend. Only €6 as well, €6-7 I think it was for the train ticket here, which for a 1 hour train on a train that's, you know, it's a fast train as well. It's a 90-mile-an-hour train, so it covers some serious ground in that hour, and there's only a handful of stops on the way. Well worth in my opinion. So yeah, time to start exploring. I'm walking down now towards the lake and all I can say is just wow, 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 wow. It completely takes your breath away when you're walking down here. There's a little river, so it's like a little stream that runs down towards the lake. Follow that down and then walk towards the waterfront. So I'm going to take a look around there and see what it's like actually on the waterfront bit as well. I'm expecting to be very busy. I'm guessing there's probably a lot of people here from England like me. It's a public holiday, so there's probably a lot of people who've come for the long weekend to explore here as well. As, I mean, I've heard every single accent, every single language so far just from the train, so there's people from all over here today, and obviously it's a beautiful day as well, so why wouldn't you want to come here today? The view out here onto the waterfront, it's just so amazing. It was so peaceful being here, it's so enjoyable. And here's a first look at one of the ferries darting off to the next stop. As I walk through this passage here, you can see there was a few ladies selling all sorts of little trinkets, cups. I think they were selling even things like alarm clocks, all sort of little bits in there. Okay. I mean, just look at that view right there. That's like the most perfect postcard photo you've ever seen. And this is the queue here for the botanical garden, just for that picture spot right there. I managed to get a photo on there as well, and it's definitely the location if you want a photo. Now, I think it cost about €10 to get into here, which is quite reasonable. It's a nice place to walk around. Like I say, great spot for a photo as well, and just a really nice place to be. So that's Verona done. Now it's time to go to the next stop, which is over in Bellagio. As you can see right here, so many people around. It's so popular, and there's so many people who are, filling out the ferries to go to these locations. You can see loads of people pouring on. We were moving off in single file coming off of this, and everyone's pouring on because there's just so many people waiting to get on these ferries because it's just so popular. And right here I got a selection of sorbets from this ice cream shop, and almost got run over here by this little motorbike in the process. Also had to get a few little videos of these limoncellos, meloncellos. I love all these Italian liqueurs, and I did get some in the airport as well to take back with me. Right there, Italian fresh pasta, you can't beat it. And this is where the chaos really began. So you can see here at the train station, everyone stood on its middle platform. There's also a few people who were stood over on the left hand side on the first platform as well, not certain which side to get on. As you can see here, the middle platform is the place to be ahead of the mad charge for the train. And I'm back in the hotel room. That's the day wrapped up. So I've been over at Lake Como today, caught the train to Verona this morning, had a nice little morning around Verona, had a really nice coffee, had a Bailey's coffee with a chocolate croissant. I wanted to have a pistachio croissant, but they just sold out. So I had to settle for a chocolate one, which was still really nice. It was lovely, fresh, full of Nutella. It was really tasty. Now, to wrap Como up in a nutshell, it's a place that has been known about for a long time. Obviously, people have been visiting for a long time, but it really seems to have popped off recently. I've seen so many more TikToks and YouTube videos of people going and visiting in the past year or two. I can see why. It is an amazing place. It is so beautiful. The scenery, the water, just the weather today. The weather's normally pretty good in the summer in Italy, of course. So the weather was brilliant. The food was really nice for the most part. But there's a few sort of downsides that I do want to talk about. That I've watched a few vlogs from people before I came over to try and get some insights, and I want to share the full picture with everyone because it's a beautiful place, and I would still say go. But I think there's a lot more considerations that people have to take in than what they might have done previously. The first thing I want to talk about is the ticket system. Now, it is beyond unclear, the ticketing system online. I don't really think you can pre-purchase tickets. Everyone that I saw had paper tickets. Now the queue for a ticket alone, wow, it was. I think I queued for over an hour and a half just to buy a ticket. There was only 2 people selling tickets in the whole of Verona. Bear in mind, this is the main train station where everyone comes in from Milan. It's the one that everyone's advised to go to. There's a lot more stuff there than Como, and of course, it's very near to Bellagio and Menaggio as well, so you can get around those 3 quite easy, or relatively easily, in a day once you get a ticket. The tickets are inexpensive. I just paid €15 for a ticket which would get me basically in a sector. If you want to get ones that go further, such as down right to the bottom of Como, it's a little bit more. If you're taking kids as well, I think it's about half price for children, which is sounds about right. So, it's not crazy expensive. I don't think, €15 for basically unlimited travel around the lake in a day. Getting between the destinations takes 10-15 minutes. Again, that's really easy, really simple, and things are signposted quite clearly. It's just a complete confusion because there was... So at Verona, and anyone who's been before will maybe know what I mean. At Verona, when you come down to the ticket office, the queue is not really organised and sorted. It's just like a man-made queue. There's no sort of barriers or anything sort of to guide people where to go, where to stand. So you had a situation where some people were thinking that, I don't know why, I don't know what people think when they look and see a super long queue and think, you know what, there's a queue there that's stretching back for hundreds of metres, but it's going to be okay for me to join this little queue here, even though they probably want the same thing as me. So that happened with a few people where they were trying to basically jump the front of the queue because there was no barrier to stop people at the front. They could literally just sort of dip into the front. What possesses people to do this, I don't know, but people do it. So if people do, call them out on the BS. That happened. I didn't have to do it, luckily, but there was someone who called someone out, and a few people actually got called out, to be honest, once I got near the front, and they got sent swiftly to the back of the queue because it's not right that people have to queue for an hour and a half and then some people can push in, but it should be made clearer as well, because what people do see is one super long line and one little line. So logically, you would chance your arm in a little line. So I do see both sides, but still, if I saw a super long line, I wouldn't jump in it. And then the second thing I want to talk about is just sort of the pure sense of chaos and panic. So really make sure to check exactly when you can get back from a certain point. So if you're going to Bellagio or Menaggio or any other point and you need to get back to, say, Verona, like I did, then make sure you know your timings. Now, luckily, my timings are spot on. I got to the pier with about 10 minutes to spare, so plenty of time to get on back from Bellagio to Verona. But it was safe to say that there was some really bad, really, really poor staffing from a lady, and I'm going to show her face because she deserves to have her face shown, because it's probably the most abysmal behaviour of any member of staff I've seen anywhere across the world ever. I don't think I've seen anything worse ever. There was a few English girls who were just behind me in the queue, and they was, obviously wanting to get back, and all of a sudden she just closed the gate on them for no reason. And they could see they were visibly getting quite upset quite quickly and uncertain as to why she shut the gate and not let them on. So I walked through, sat down on the thing, and then sat down on the boat, and then all of a sudden she just opened the barriers and then let everyone on. It's not even like they were just begging to get let on, and she let 4 people on and then said, right, that's it, that's the last 4. You're getting on because you begged, but no one else is getting on. She opened the floodgates and she was horrible, a really horrible person. Like I don't like saying about people, but she was really horrible. Now the nasty side came out even more when we actually docked back at Verona. So as on most boats, there's 2 separate doors that you can go through to get towards sort of the front part of the boat to then walk off up the gangway. So naturally, people just like on a plane. So imagine if on a plane, you're walking up both aisles, and everyone doesn't filter down one aisle. Everyone goes down both aisles, then goes off through one exit at the end. That's what was happening. That's logical. All of a sudden, I clocked in the corner of my eye, she just slammed the door in people's faces, and she was literally ramming the door. How someone didn't get their fingers trapped or anything is a miracle. She was just slamming and ramming the door on people, and then I watched her push someone up the gangway and basically say, like, get off, like, and then my experience for myself. So when I was recording this video, just as I was walking off, I wasn't being some I wasn't being like a lackadaisical tourist or just wandering around aimlessly or being slow or blocking anyone. I walked off at a normal pace. I simply had a phone in front of me because I used my phone quickly, just pulled it out to record this little cutscene to walk off Verena. Next thing, she taps me on the shoulder and she like whistles at me. So I turn around and like, what? And she's like, go, get off, like very rude and very aggressive. So I won't repeat what I said to her, but I did tell her to go away, in other words. And yeah, it was just amazing to see how bad someone was with people when it's such a tourist centric thing. And I guess they think they're here for a day trip, they're never going to come back, big on. But yeah, I'm sure it comes across, I'm genuinely flabbergasted at what I've seen, because that is the worst example of customer service I've ever seen, and like to say, to the point where I almost watched someone's fingers get trapped. So if you see this woman, like, be really, really careful, because she is like unhinged and has just, for no reason, is rude and aggressive with members of the public, which just shouldn't be the case. The last thing I want to talk about is the trains. The trains from Verena through to Milan, they run once an hour. It may be a different case on different days or different times of year, but outwards it was 1 per hour, inbound it was 1 per hour. Now take a look at this. This was the scene of pure panic at Verena train station, as there was a tiny little bit of concrete in the middle for what is the second platform, which was also confusing because the trains come in. So there's 2 lines that run through, so logically, like most train stations, trains go in on one line and out on the other when there's 2 lines. The train came in and out on the same line, so people had no idea. There was no staff to tell people where to stand. So some people were stood on the other side of the track thinking that, oh, it came in that way, so logically it'll come out that way. A lot of people were stood in the middle, I guess knowing or thinking it was going to come to platform 2, which is where it did come into, the same when it arrived at. But again, it's very, very dangerous. Like, it was a thin piece of concrete, maybe only 1 metre in width, and you've got people ramming on, pushing on. As soon as the train arrived, it's pure chaos because, it's over an hour till the next train, so everyone wants to get on. At this time, at this time of evening, it's starting to get dark, things are closing, people have been out all day. You don't anticipate going to a train station and having to wait another hour because you can't get on the train that you want to get on because of how busy it is. It was just incredibly busy to the point where people are ramming, pushing. I had someone grab my shoulder and was trying to push me onto the train, so I turned around, get off, we're all going to get on, and they did get on. The door was literally to the left of where I was stood, about 1 inch to the left of me. I was virtually straight into the door, straight through. I didn't have to push anyone, and someone trying to grab me and push through. Just all a bit unnecessary. And one final thing to mention, if you are flying out of Milan the same day that you are planning to go to Como, do not do it. Categorically, it's a no. It's an absolute no. Unless you are literally planning on getting the train to Verena, seeing Verena, and then getting the hell out of there and heading straight back and not trying to do the ferry, then you might be okay. But still give plenty of time because, like I say, it's 1 train an hour and they can get busy, particularly the later you leave it today as everyone leaves the area because there's a lot of day trippers from Milan. I didn't know how many other people would be doing it, but clearly a lot. So give yourself plenty of time if you are going to go to Verena. Like I say, don't get the ferry. Just don't get a ferry anywhere. Stay in Verena, or you can go to Como, but as in the area Como. But people say there's not much there, not much to do. It's not as nice. Verena was beautiful as well, and quite a few things to do there. So you could easily spend a good few hours in Verena. Personally, I was told beforehand that Bellagio was nicer than Verena. I've got to flip the switch on that one. Verena is well nicer, a lot nicer than Bellagio. So stay in Verena if you are going the same day. Otherwise, you're probably not going to leave Italy because if you miss your ferry, so when I was heading back to the ferry, if I hadn't have got the ferry that I got when I got there 10 minutes or so before, the next ferry, the last ferry on the board of the next departures was 1 hour and 20 minutes off. So there was it shows you the next 4 departures, and the last one was 1 hour and 20 minutes away. And then after that, there was not another ferry back to Verena mentioned. So obviously there's one in 10 minutes, and then it shows you the next 1 hour and 20. There wasn't a single one. So you would have been waiting over 1 hour and a half for a ferry back. If that ferry got back at the wrong time for the train, you could have been waiting 50, 45 minutes for a train. So just please bear all that in mind. It's quite a long a long end segment, this one. You know, I'm watching the timer on my camera here as to how long it's been going on for, but I just think there's so much misinformation out there about Como, and you know what I've seen and experienced today. I just want to make it like categorically clear to anyone who's going, just to be careful of a few things. Also, as well, if you're going to eat, make sure you eat in the typical Italian dining times. You know, at the restaurants, a lot of them close between 3 and 7. So your options between 3 and 7 are very limited. I fell foul of that. I just kind of thought I'll just eat when I get a chance to again. Obviously, I had the croissant in the morning, which was beautiful, but I wanted an actual meal. I had a pizza. The place I had the pizza from, I don't know what it was called, but if I ever go back to Bellagio, I will not go there again because the service was awful. The pizza was like an English-style pizza where, you know, it's just... It's hard to describe unless you know, but that sort of thing. But with the pizzas in Italy, they're seen a lot fresher, and they use, like, you know, the pulled mozzarella from the bowl. This was just like, you know, dry mozzarella out of a bag that you get from the supermarket. It just wasn't the best. It was okay, it was passable, but it wasn't the best, and the service was shambolic. Like, again, you kind of get the vibe from a few people that they hate tourists, and I can see why. Because there's a lot of people who are there, you know, are not conscious or respectful of the locals, and the place is overrun. There's so many people visiting. That's why in this vlog you probably noticed as well that there's a lot less content of me in front of the camera, because there was so many people around, there's so much going on that I've noticed in some videos, like if I have to look to the side, you know, look to the side of me, things like that, it's okay, but just for crossing a road or something. But in this case, there's that many people around, I would have just been holding the camera up and just looking left, right, all around all the time. So I had to concentrate on what was going on because there's so many people, it's so busy, and there's uneven surfaces, you know, steep inclines, etc. Just had to be careful. So I've got as much content as I can, which obviously I've spoken over bits where I've not been able to get my own face in it. I definitely recommend going. Like I say, just give plenty of time. Plan, be really careful, really cautious, you know, think next steps ahead. If you do get to Verona as well, when you get to Verona, this is the final bonus tip, as soon as you get there, go to the ticket office and buy your ticket, get it done, get out of the way, because otherwise you might think, oh, there's a ferry in half an hour, I want to get it, but the queue could be an hour and a half, 2 hours. It literally snake right up the road and right round the corner. So as soon as you get the chance, if there's a short queue, just go and buy your ticket. Once you've got it, it's done. Then when you want to get on the ferry, you can get on whatever ferry you want, and you know, I could have saved an hour or so if I realised. I didn't think it would be as chaotic and as unorganised as it was. It's chaotic, it's unorganised, but it's fun, it's great to see. So yeah, that's Como in a nutshell. It's been a long day, been a fun day. Not running on much sleep. I was at the AC Milan game last night and up early this morning to get into Como before the big crowds came in. And so what time are we on now? We are on 10 o'clock. So it's 10 p.m. I'm going to call it a night for this vlog. I'm taking a trip to Bologna tomorrow, and then I'll see where I get to in the afternoon. I've got a few options, so I've got a few hours in Bologna, picked a really nice spot, or what I've seen online is a really nice spot for a traditional ragu, which is obviously what we know as a bolognese. So I'll be having that for lunch. I'm really looking forward to that because I've had pizza so far here, so it's time to now have some nice pasta in Italy. So stay tuned for the next episode. Thank you for everyone who's watched today. I really appreciate you watching, whether this is your first time watching a vlog here on Woody's Travels, your second, or whether you've been with me right from the start and you've watched all the south of France, all the Switzerland, and you're now watching the Italy vlogs. Whoever you are, wherever you're watching from, thank you, I appreciate your support. Drop a like on the video, like I said before, if you've liked it. It really helps me grow the channel and, you know, do something that I love to do and, you know, get more coverage with my channel. It's still a new channel, still something I'm trying to grow. And again, if you like the content or you want to see anything else that I post and be notified when it comes out, tap the subscribe button and all my posts will come up on your timeline when I drop a new post. But until then, thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Like I say, the next vlog will be out soon. And in that, I'm going to be going to Bologna. And then what I do yet is to be confirmed. So wait and see. Thank you, guys.